Bills Mafia, welcome to the Red, White and Buffalo Blues UK Bills podcast. Robin,
Good evening.
Mark, live on YouTube for our first ever live podcast episode. So it's UK Bills news with the UK twist. Robin, Mark, how are you doing, guys? How are we feeling tonight?
Very good, mate. 3 days, 3 sleeps, 3 sleeps and a nap from the season opener. And a jug of coffee.
No coffee.
Oh yes, lots of coffee. I think it's going to be an essential. Please, no lightning, no floods, no postponements, no delay to the start of the second half. Please, let's just get in there and get it finished.
Do they have lightning in LA? I know they have earthquakes.
Well, it's apparently running at about 100 degrees at the moment, isn't it? So they might have an electrical storm, but no, I think it's expected to be pretty decent weather, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I had a load of thunder down here.
Last night. That'd be the worst thing, actually, like thunder here that night, which knocks out my Sky connection or something like that, or broadband connection.
Yeah.
It's happened before.
Yeah, it's happened before. It'll happen again. Who knows?
No doubt. Hopefully,
but no, we welcome the viewers that actually are listening. Hopefully, you should be able to post comments up there if you want to ask us questions. You want to give your views or opinions, and we'll gladly actually go over those. I mean, today we're pretty much previewing week 1. As you say, 3 days to go. We've had the 53-man roster. Any surprises in there, guys? Can you see? I mean, if people listened to the last show, they would have seen us argue. Would you say argue? Or
no. Healthy debate, Matt. Healthy debate.
Yes, yeah. Spirited, healthy, frank exchange of views. Yes, yeah. I think ultimately Mark was right because Mike went Kumaro over Hodgins. So,
well, I wasn't going to bring it up.
Well,
seeing as you have, I think the only one that was the major, and I guess it wasn't really, which as we touched on it last week, was Howard.
Yes.
And I think that the thought was that they might try and trade him in order to be able to keep both the other tight ends. As it turns out, they couldn't get a trade partner and they cut him anyway. I kind of like the move. If they've seen more from the other two, then you've got the cap hit to take it. It's not a massive hit. Take it and get in the players that you think can make a difference rather than keep someone because he's OJ Howard. I'm all good with it. I think it makes sense. Everything else, pretty much looking down the list, I think we both thought that they'd keep Manx as the backup centre on the O-line, and they didn't. And that was kind of really, for me, pretty much it from a surprise point of view.
Yeah. Well, they've managed to keep him on the practice squad along with Blackshear and Duke Johnson as well. So it's kind of worked out okay that people didn't claim them. So actually, you look at the practice squad. I've seen worse starting teams during the drought. That's not a bad practice lineup they've got there, and they've just filled the last 3 spots, haven't they? So they've got the 16.
Yeah, I mean the biggest surprise for me, well, I think we did touch on it, is Bobby Hart. How we got Bobby Hart in the in the 9 men on the O-line ahead of like Greg Manx and all that. Obviously, we know that Ike Bottker is on the PUP list to start with, and you have a feeling that when he's fit and available, Bobby Hart will be the first to go. But that over Manx is a surprise for me because we've got to have Van Rauten's going to be your backup centre and your backup guard. When you've got Bobby Hart as what is he going to? I think it's on the depth chart as left guard. I think at the moment, backup left guard.
Yeah.
So I know people out there that are not big fans of him, all that, but
for everything I've read, he's had a bit of a renaissance this off season. The coaching has been super impressed with him, and Yeah, from what I read and what I saw, I expected him to be on there. I didn't expect it to be Manx that missed out. But I think the coaching has been super impressed with his attitude and his performance, and it's kind of been the opposite of what he's been previously. And he's a guy that's known to them, isn't he? So it's I think it makes a bit of sense. Like you said, I think as soon as like Butker's back, either him or Van Routen will drop out. And I'm fine with that. Like I said, we're talking about, people that we hope never see the field, right?
Mm.
Well, yeah.
in a perfect world, none of those three have seen the field ever. So yeah, fine.
But I mean, it's interesting to see this, especially with the makeup of the practice squad as well. And we know that usually they get a load of players in from other teams being cut, but this one they pretty much got everyone on bar about 3 players.
Yeah,
that actually were in training camp, which is good for continuity, and they know the system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Makes sense. They've got the guys that they wanted.
Yeah, I think they're kind of glad that, well, most Bills fans are actually glad that Blackshear and Hodgins actually didn't get claimed off waiver, and that hopefully we actually as much as we don't want to see anyone from the practice squad get called up, we do really want to see what these guys can actually do and bring to the team.
It's not a bad trio to bring up. If were something to happen to Kirk or Singletary or Shakir, or God forbid, one of the the elite receivers, that's not bad depth. That's not bad backfill, is it? Having a Duke Johnson coming in for one of the running backs, or Blackshear perhaps. So yeah, like I say, we all hope nothing happens. We all hope everyone's free. But it's I think it's a praiseworthy comment on how deep the roster has gone, that we're now talking about practice squad guys that in another era of the Bills would be in the team without even worrying about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also good. It also shows how well they've drafted, because pretty much all bar Luke Tuenta have actually either been signed to the 53 or the practice squad on there.
Yeah,
and that for me shows how well they've drafted, and they're actually and what Bean can do. Well, we're not even going to mention the name that didn't make it, and that's cut beforehand. But we have a new punter as well.
Yeah,
we technically have 2 punters on this team, not Barkley.
I thought you were going to say Barkley.
Well, Barkley's one.
Yeah,
Tyler Bass did a bit of punting in college.
He did. Also, the tight end that we actually took from cuts from the Vikings, Zach Davidson.
Oh,
he was actually the team's the Central Missouri punter as well as a tight end. So we've got 2 backup options on there.
Yeah, for the 5 punts we're going to do this season, hopefully. So
I was pleased with the pickup of Sam Martin after the whole the stuff that went on. There was that mass clamour for Brett Kern, and then the whole thing about came out about how his dad had said that he wasn't going to sign with the Bills, and the Titans wanted him to hang around just in case the guy that they decided was better than him actually wasn't better than him. It was all the way that the Titans have done that is such a weird organization way of way to give your new punter the confidence going into the new season, right? We're going to cut the guy that we don't think is any good, but we're going to ask him to hang around just in case you're not very good.
And you usually day one on any kind of organization is, look, for God's sake, don't tell your mum and dad about roster picks and things like that. And they'll stay off social media.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing. As I'm always talking about the quiz show that I was on, they sat us down and they said, if you go on Twitter and hold up your pointless trophy, we will take the money off you. Don't be an idiot, because this isn't going out for 6 months. You don't tell us all. And then here we are, professional sports teams with $200 million salary cap, and the dad leaking the news.
I like it from accuracy and ball placement. He was the best of the available punters, I think, and we've picked him up. Hopefully, he won't do anything, and hopefully, he's very good at learning to hold the ball.
Yeah,
I think he's a 7 year veteran or something like that.
9 years he's been in the league.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, he actually knows how to hold. Fingers. 10 years.
They probably asked him in the workout.
Do you know what to do?
Yeah.
Never had a punt blocked.
Ah.
Really? That's interesting.
But it's good because, I mean, as much as he that shall not be named on there actually can flip the field as well, wasn't it that Martin got a load more into the inside the 10 than any other punter last year?
Yeah, and I think his average distance was top 5 in the league as well for the Broncos, I think. So yeah, I'm like, great pickup. Yeah,
I don't think there's really anything else really to talk about. I mean, the one thing I'm glad about, I knew he was going to make it. It was touch and go at a little point, but actually, Josh Allen making the 53, I think.
Yeah.
I was.
You don't believe it. You don't believe into these names actually on the sheet, do you? So we all
sweating. When listing all the names, I was there going, shit, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is? Ah, there he is. That's good.
His day at practice when he turns up on cut day must be very different to that a lot of the team, right? A very different experience of that day. And it must be like whole life. His whole life, he's never had to like worry about his place in the team. Like right down from Pee-wee football through high school, he's always been first name on the team sheet and still is now. Must be tough for him. Must be tough.
Yeah, but no, I think it's a quite interesting mix there. I think they went 6 wide receivers, 3 tight ends. It's just going to be interesting to see the game day inactives, especially at the tight end spot. So, I mean, Tommy Sweeney, he is more of an all-rounder.
Yep.
But Quinton Morris does know how to block, but not the best blocker, more of a pass catcher with Knox. So maybe the plays they're going to run with Howard and Knox, they might play with Morris.
Yes,
but
yeah,
he's a wide receiver in a tight end's body, so that's just another weapon to add to pretty much all the other weapons that we've got on this show, on this roster.
I'm up for it. Love it.
Yeah.
We'll see a lot of the one thing Josh liked to do is dump the ball off 5-10 yards, and he did that an awful lot, especially last season. So if we go maybe like 2 tight end sets a lot of the time, so many options in that short distance, especially if we're playing Cook in there as well. Brilliant receiver at the backfield. His options, and the one thing we need to get more is yards after the catch. Yeah. So if either of those can bring some of that to the table, then so much the better.
Yeah, it's interesting because I say we've got McKenzie, and we're going to go on to preview the Rams game now. We've got McKenzie back now. He was actually questionable and sat out a few practices on there. But what can we literally think and see what's going to happen on Friday morning, Thursday night, if we've got people listening in America or watching this in America, that we're looking to see what sort of storylines could we see other than Von Miller going back to his old stomping ground of last couple of years and actually take home the W for the Bills?
I think a lot of it is going to be, can the Rams continue in the same vein of which they obviously finished last season? Excellent with Matt Stafford. He had a superb playoffs, probably up there with Josh Allen as the 2 best quarterbacks in last year's playoffs. It's whether he can keep that going, whether Allen Robinson, who's new wide receiver for them that they picked up from Chicago, is able to produce in the Rams offense. You would expect them to be much the same, I think, as they were last year. I can't see there's been a massive turnaround in personnel. I think there's no two ways about it. It's a bloody tough first game.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got obviously the worry there on that defense. Obviously, is Aaron Donald on there. Hopefully, Von Miller's actually going to be in the ears of the offensive lineman and say, "This is his weakness. Give him a little tickle under the arm or something like that." Or as I do as a goalkeeper with corners when they're trying to mark me, just give him a little squeeze, just to distract him. But I think that's going to be the one battle that, for me, how can this O-line hold this defense?
Yeah.
Because if they can hold it and get and soothe or calm down Aaron Donald from his rage that he has every game, and make sure he keeps his helmet on. We don't want to see him whacking any Bills players like he did in the Bengals practice or was it Bengals practice?
Yeah.
But we solve him, we keep him down, and I think we have a really decent chance.
I think a lot of it's going to be about that is how our O-line, which is revamped, I guess, with a couple of names, holds out. Yes, Aaron Donald's clearly key, but they've picked up Bobby Wagner as well. Their linebacker core is completely new. Leonard Floyd there as well. That's going to be interesting. Jalen Ramsey's going to be looking to shut down Stephon Diggs. So I think that there's a good, this could be a huge game for Gabe Davis. If he gets going, I think we stand a good chance, because I can't see they get much to Diggs if Ramsey's on fire. Yeah,
I think, and that's what, and this is a good thing that we've got Gabe Davis now coming out of a shadow.
Yeah,
he's now having that breakout year that we saw in the playoffs. We're going to have Diggs is going to be covered by Ramsey, but you have Davis now. Actually, do you double team him? Do you keep him single coverage? You've got McKenzie, who is going to be a nightmare in that slot. You've got Crowder and Shakir that can do it. You've got Dawson Knox. There's too many more weapons now to see what we can actually do and what we can give Rams the headache.
Yeah, you can't double team everybody, right? And Gabe Davis, I think, is now showing that for a lot of teams, he would be wide receiver 1. For us, he's wide receiver 2, which is fantastic. I do think he's going to get a lot of looks. Diggs, by the very nature of being Stephon Diggs, is guaranteed to draw a lot of the main corner coverage. So Davis is going to need to step up. He's going to be the go-to man in a lot of cases, but I think he's capable of doing it.
Yeah.
I'll just put a quick word in for our rookie cornerbacks as well, because them plus Dane Jackson, someone's going to have to cover Cooper Kupp as well. So it's a question. It's a question. He's going to have his success and he's going to have his catches in the same way that Aaron Donald's going to have his way with a lot of the O-line. Can they limit him? I think it's going to be interesting to see how, let's say it's Elam and Jackson as the two starting corners. Which one does Cooper Kupp go to? Which corners do they target? And let's see how they go. Let's not get don't put too much on Elam's shoulders. It's probably not a bad game actually to start off, because if he gets smoked, then he was a rookie and it was his first game against the Super Bowl champions. So he's kind of playing with house money there. But I think it's going to be interesting. I think he's going to make a couple of plays. What I don't want to see is him give away too many flags.
Yeah, I think
sorry, carry on.
No, go on. I was just going to say it's really the penalties that we're going to have to worry about, especially when you've got the Cooper Kupp, you've got the I'm assuming they're going to have Cam Akers as the starting running back. Before his injury, he was actually doing quite well and actually quite good. And obviously, they signed Allen Robinson from the Bears on there, so it's going to be interesting to see how they actually cover. And I think it's all up to how this new revamped D line will do to actually to see if they can not hurry. Let's say hurry and pressure Stafford that much that it doesn't matter if they have Cooper Kupp, they have Devontae Adams, they have Tyreek Hill, whoever it is on the opposite side. If that pass rush can work and get there quickly, then we could have it easier for Elam, Benford, Jackson in that secondary. But you've got the experience of Hyde and Poyer there to actually to back them up. So there is comfort in a way, but also there is I wouldn't say worried. I can't say worried. There is a bit of
I'm worried about Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
the thing with Cooper Kupp, I think the thing with Cooper Kupp for me is that he's a slot receiver, right? So you don't see him lined up out on the edge too much. That's going to be Allen Robinson and Van Jefferson for the Rams. Cooper Kupp goes all over the place. So it may be, and it could be that it's Dane Jackson and Kyra Lamb are picking up the two wider receivers, and you're then relying on whoever's playing as the nickel corner is going to be the one that's having to cover Cooper Kupp. So then you're potentially talking about Taron Johnson, Siran Neal. Are we moving one of those guys inside to cover him more rather than the guys who are more comfortable being out on the edge like Kyra Lamb is? It's a hell of a job for whoever it is that picks it up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be this is what makes Super Bowl champions. This is what makes you the best of the best to beat the best. And last year it was the Rams. So I think this really sets us up for the season. If we lose, we lose. We just get up, go on, move on to the next game. It's just what I said to my under 11s on Sunday when we lost our first league game. Forget it, move on, and we'll go again. But exactly the same in professional American football. I can see us winning, and I am, and people will know this from loads of episodes last couple of seasons I was doing with Alex. That I was always the optimist and always looking for the best case.
Ain't that the truth? Alex was not.
No, he wasn't. He was more of the I think we're going to, but my heart says no. And I'm just there going, no, fuck it. It's going to be. I
think we've been too ingrained as Bills fans to expect like the worst to happen at any point, right?
Yeah.
I had this game down out of the 17. I had this down as a defeat. It's annoying its first game because nobody wants to lose their first game, but you're away at the Super Bowl champions who aren't, other than Odell Beckham, aren't any worse off than they were last year, and in many ways are stronger than they were last year. It's a really, really tough place to go, and I think the Rams must start favourites. They're home Super Bowl champions. I would be very surprised if we start the game as favourite, but if we win, fantastic. But I do think that also the fact that it's first game away at the Rams does kind of allow you that bit of grace where you can go, well, we're allowed to win. We're allowed to lose that game. I can cope with that. Now we regroup and now we go for the season. Our season almost starts week 2 if we lose. If we win, then you use it as a proper springboard to think, wow, we've won away at LA. What can't we do this season?
No, exactly. And I think the one thing that everyone's going to be interested about is what this offense is going to be like. I mean, we've got first time offensive coordinator in Ken Dorsey. I believe he's going to be taking he's going to be doing it from calling from the booth. I think rather than on the on the sideline. What can we see from? What will we see from him in regards to the offensive philosophy?
He is going to want to call and be his own OC. He's not going to want to just be Daboll's running Daboll's system. He's going to want to put his own stamp on it, and I think he's going to do screen passes. I think he's going to do lots of running back matches. I think he's going to do lots of tight end plays. I think he's going to play with 2 tight ends. and 13 occasionally with the running backs. And I think primetime Josh, is going to go in there and they're going to go in and they're going to win. Because I don't think they're going to go into the game. Fans will say, well, if we win, great. And, the team are going to go in there and they're going to want to punch the Rams in the face in their own yard. And they are going to want to make a statement win to the rest of the league. And so I'm going to cut to the chase. I think the Bills win 31-23.
Ooh, he's going for a big scoring game.
Yeah.
Mark, what have you got the Bills losing by then, Mark? Come on. Be the Alex of the show.
Yeah. This isn't me saying I want them to lose, by the way.
What do you think will happen?
I mean, yeah, we can't win every game.
Sure.
I'm going to say it's a lower scoring than yours, 24-17.
Okay. 24-17 to the Rams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. We've got some comments here. Obviously, hello from Florida. Welcome from Florida, Justin. We've got a couple more comments coming through. I'm going to pop them up on the.
I like with the fact that we've got Bills fans in Tampa. Hopefully not a Bucks fan. And I don't know where Matt's gone.
No, is Matt gone? All right, we're going to have to fill. That's a shame because we both give.
We're not going to.
Oh, good, he's back.
Predictions, right? Get your score predictions quick before you disappear again.
Hey, it's technical issues, all right. Technical issues. But I'm back. I just had to press a button and boom, here I go. But no, I think it's for me. I think it's going to. I've always said it's going to be one score game. I don't know whether it be a field goal. I don't know whether it be a touchdown or anything like that. But if you had to put me on the spot right now, I'm going to say 27-21. So I'm going just under. I'm going 2 field goals in it.
To who?
Hey, to the Bills, obviously.
Okay,
love that.
Yeah.
Hey, I've never hoped I'm wrong more. If I'm up at 4 a.m. before I've got to go to work, I'm hoping we win the game.
No, I think it's going to be a good show. I mean, we'd love to hear everyone's predictions there in the chat at the moment. I mean, we've got Sarah that's actually saying 31-17. Obviously, Bills, hopefully, fingers crossed. But love to hear everyone's predictions. We'll go through them at the end of the show. But what we want to do is just go through a season prediction. We can go through quickly game by game, see where we actually stand on there, and maybe ask who's going to be your MVP, who's going to be your breakout star of the season. So let's do schedule. So obviously we know where we stand for week 1, 2 wins and a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Week 2, what we got? What have we got for week 2?
Titans.
Yeah,
I say the same. I think again they've got the motivation after losing the past 2 seasons, but I think it's going to be a close run thing. I think it'll be a 2017. Something like that.
Interesting season for the Titans, isn't it? With Derrick Henry coming back from injury, quarterback is questionable. With Tannehill, where they've got Malik Wallace who's coming in, does there start being controversy there? I don't know. I think this is going to be an interesting one for them with the Colts and Matt Ryan going there. I don't think the Titans are guaranteed to win their division for the first time in a long time. I think this is comfortable win at home. Home opener. Yeah. We're not losing the home opener.
No, I think it's definitely going to be a win for me. I mean, yeah, they've got Robert Woods. They've signed him. They obviously lost was it AJ Brown they lost? Or they lost someone else? Who did they lose?
AJ Brown, yeah. AJ Brown's gone to Minnesota.
Yeah. So they've lost a good piece, but gained a good piece. I think they like every game, apart from that one game where they exploited the COVID rules and pushed us back. So we had 2 quick games in succession.
We didn't know who were playing until
exactly
48 hours before the game, right?
Exactly, and it's always been a close game. So I feel again there's going to be another close score in there. I think this could be a low scoring game. I think you're looking at was it something like 14-10 or something like that. I think it's going to be. I think the defenses in this one are going to be strong. I think we have two rookies who are going to have that almost that seasoned mentality after that first game against the Rams on there. That they'll be up for the challenge, and obviously against Bobby Trees and whoever their other wide receiver is. It's a good opener, good test for the two rookies and Dane Jackson. And we've got D'Antonio, is that if I pronounced that right? DB, obviously 31-17 Bills. So
I'm totally with Dan on that one. I think that it's all about Derrick Henry for their offense at the minute, and I think we've got the players to slow that down now. So yeah, I think comfortable win for me.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to keep putting it on his shoulders, isn't it? Year after year, eventually he's surely going to have to get worn down a bit.
Do we need to discuss the result of week 3 against the Dolphins?
Only the scoreline, really. I think
The one thing that worries me is Tyreek Hill, and the fact that with him going there, he's burnt us in the past. It's a different person throwing in the ball this year. I don't think the Dolphins are going to be much of a factor, but he does make them better, no doubt. Tagovailoa has looked much better, supposedly, in training camps, but everyone should be able to look pretty decent in training camp. No one's trying to take your head off. I think I like a lot of what they've done with their O-line, but I think we'll have far too much for the Dolphins.
And also Tyreek Hill claiming that Tua's got a strong arm, and you've seen, as people have seen those Twitter videos of him throwing it, having to come back, slow down, turn around, and then actually get stuffed. So that's a win for me. I just think as much as they've improved the Dolphins, and with Mike McDaniel, who is a decent was a decent offensive coordinator, especially what he did with the 49ers, could spring a surprise, but I think it's an easy win for the Bills. And if there are people that are actually listening at the moment, week 3, that game, when you go down to the Fitzrover Bell, that will be our home opener. Will be see all the regulars will be there. Go enjoy the game. They'll be showing it on their system. So there'll be wings, beers, and just a friendly atmosphere. So get down there for the home opener. Week 4 is the Ravens.
Look, we've done a number on the Ravens before. We know what we're doing against them. We know the type of game that they're going to have. It's Lamar Jackson versus the world. If Dobbins is still managed to be fit, then great. They've got more of a running game. But who are they throwing the ball to there? It's like the meme of the broom cupboard with skeletons in it and a cleaner, and that's it. There's their wide receiver 1 is Rashad Bateman. I'm not worried about the Ravens, and I don't know. I'm more worried about the Dolphins than the Ravens.
What about the Ravens' defense?
They're fine, but we've got Josh Allen. We're better than them. We know how to score points on the Ravens. We've done it before, and I can't see them scoring enough on us to trouble us. I think they're one-dimensional. If you can stop Lamar Jackson, the Ravens have got nothing else.
So yeah, I think it's me on 4 straight wins. I think at the moment on this one.
I think it'll be a similar one to the Titans. I think it'll be a lot closer. I think the defense will keep them in it. so it'll be a live game until the fourth quarter. I think Josh will pull out a couple of plays, but I mean, even if you look at the divisional game from 2 years ago, we only got 17. Yeah, they only got 3.
Yeah,
and one of them was a defensive touchdown, so really only scored 10. So I think it could be that kind of game again. It could be a 14-10. It could be a 17-13, something like that. But I think the Bills will probably edge it, especially if they're 3-0 as well. I think they will find some. They will find one drive, maybe 2, to get them over the line.
Another 101 yard. Another 101-yard touchdown interception by Teron Johnson. Yes, please.
We all remember it, don't we?
I think Dan is right that what he said there. They're a tough running team, and Lamar Jackson is one of the hardest rushers of the ball to stop. He's so elusive. Guys like linebackers are going to have to be on their game, but we've done it before. We can do it again. I think we'll end up being comfortable. And he's not doing. They have to run because they're not doing anything else.
Yeah, and I think that'll be apart from week 2, I think that's really going to be our biggest challenge in the run game, and see how well we actually are against the run. Because obviously Derrick Henry, but then again, I say, looking at it and looking how we've done, obviously you've got Jackson, but you've got Dobbins if he's fit. Kenyon Drake can be a decent running back. Mike Davis is there or thereabouts. So they based their offense around the run game, and really it's going to be that big test which is what we need before heading into week 5, where we go where we have the Chiefs with the rematch from the last couple of years. And this one for me,
you've missed out You've missed out the Steelers, by the way.
Did I?
The Steelers in week 5.
Oh, week 5. Okay, Steelers.
But that's a win. Don't worry about that. Move on.
I think
they've got Mitch Trubisky, right? Yes, yeah, fine.
Yeah, I think they're the phrasing is a team in transition. So I think yes, I think that'll be.
Okay.
They'll always play you hard. Tomlin will always coach them well. They won't roll over. But you can't see them scoring that many.
Yeah.
So then Chiefs. There we go. Chiefs week 6 before the. Let me just double check before the bye week. There we go.
and it's in Arrowhead as well, isn't it?
Yes.
They always seem to be right. When are we
Arrowhead again? When was the last time we played them at home?
Arrowhead, Jesus Christ. Yeah,
well, Robin, you should know that. Being the man of all stats and knowledge, you should
numbers,
know
not home or away. I had my powers. My powers do have limits. I honestly can't remember, and I really should know because one of my closest American friends is a Chiefs fan, so we always message each other whenever they play, which is pretty much every year.
Friends, right?
No, not that kind of friend. No, a theatrical friend.
Yeah, as in an acquaintance because he's a Chiefs fan.
No, she's
okay.
She is from Kansas City as well.
So how good a friend can they really be when they're a Chiefs fan, right?
It is easy. It gets a little testy around game time, but we always, but we're, it's all family. It's all good. So where was I? Kansas City. Christ knows when we last played them. Would have been about 2017. I think we lost.
I haven't. We've not. I can't remember playing the Chiefs ever away. No, it's like it doesn't.
At home.
Yeah.
At home. No,
at home. I think we're playing them next year. Obviously, provided.
No, I'm trying to remember. The last time we played them at home. I think it was.
I know. Next time we play them at home, I think it's going to be next year. I think, judging by what the schedules are, presuming obviously they win the AFC West on there. But for me, as much as I want to win that game, it's almost like they're starting to become like a bogey team for us. The fact
but they weren't in the regular season last. I mean, this is the thing. We beat them in the regular season. Everyone was like, "Oh, we finally got over that Chiefs hump. Fantastic!" And then it gets to the playoffs, and it's the same old story. They're not as good a team this year.
No,
the Chiefs is really interesting because they're obviously losing Tyreek Hill's the key thing. They've still got a lot of good weapons, but their wide receiver core I don't think is particularly special anymore.
No.
Juju, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, McCall Hardman. I mean, they can flash and be decent, but none of them are. I wouldn't put any of them over Gabe Davis, for example.
Yeah.
So I personally don't think the Chiefs are as good this year as they have been previously. And I don't think they're going to win the AFC West. I think that's the best division in football. They're going to have, having to play those teams twice is going to be difficult. And losing Hill is a massive part of that offense. It's what gave the space to Travis Kelce that he might not get now that they don't have that deep threat isn't there. I think we win this one.
Okay, so Packers after the bye week. Again,
you didn't ask me what I thought, Matt.
Oh, okay.
I got distracted with all my female friends.
How many did you have?
Who was in there somewhere?
I have two female friends. They've been
just two, ever.
That's all. Yeah, that's all. One in, one
out. One
out.
of them's wife.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm like one wife and one other. Yeah, that's it. I have to wait for one of them to die before I'm allowed another female friend.
But yeah, it's like a very, very exclusive club. One in, one out.
Dead man's boots. Yeah. Yes, I don't think the Chiefs are worse, but I don't think they've got any better. If I can put it that way. They also lost Tyrann Mathieu as well, didn't they? I think they've roughly stayed the same, and with Mahomes they'll always be dangerous. But I think the Bills have got better. So I'm basically agreeing with Mark, and I think the Bills win because I think they'll have a point to prove. But it's still going to be dangerous, and it's still difficult to win on the road. It's a 9:25 one as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's still going to be a little sort of special, a little under the lights. I think Josh will put on a show.
Okay. So now has everyone made their say?
Yes, we have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're all good now. Okay.
Yeah.
Week 8, Packers.
And I still think we'll take Kumaro over Hodgkins, but we'll leave that one.
Whatever, Trevor.
Time really told on that one, didn't it?
Whatever, Trevor. Packers. I think for me, it's going to be interesting. And what Dan says here, Adams is obviously a huge loss for the Packers, but a brilliant loss for the Bills.
Yeah.
The fact that they've got Sammy Watkins, and
that's it. It's it's a Bills reject, Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard who's injured. So I think it's similar. The fact that this is in Buffalo as well. I think Green Bay is going to be another one of those big teams. They may be saved by the fact that their division is so weak, and the NFC in general is a lot more weak. Adams is a massive loss for them. That's Aaron Rodgers' safety blanket. There's also a bit of me that wonders how into it Aaron Rodgers is going to be. He clearly wasn't particularly fussed about staying there last offseason. He's still there. He's lost he signed this massive contract, and then within a few days, his favorite target and main wide receiver gets traded elsewhere. I don't know. There's a bit of me that wonders if they might have an absolute car crash of the season.
So,
I think with Aaron Rodgers, you're always going to be there as much as he doesn't seem like the.
But is he a sulky Aaron Rodgers?
How can we put this? A slightly prickly character, shall we say? And I wonder if Adams had just had enough of this shit. And particularly, how much more money do you need? Like, couldn't you not have just taken a bit less, and you could have kept your favourite receiver? And he'd be like, yes, sod you. Yeah, fine, I'll go.
Probably, but any team where you've got that level, they've been successful the last couple of years as they have because of who they've had in their division. You know, when you're playing the likes of the Bears and the Lions, they're like 4 times a season, you're going to have a decent record. As soon as they come against a relatively decent team in the playoffs in the last couple of years, they fall apart. And I can't see us, like, if we're on fire, I can't see us losing to the Packers. I don't think they're that good.
Yeah. I think Rodgers will get you a couple. He'll probably get you to 20, but I think Bills will get to 30.
Yeah,
35. Be one of them. 35-21.
And Aaron Jones is
that
Jones
Seahawks game a couple of years ago was like 44-30 something. Could be that, or it would be about Bills by about 10, I think.
Yeah.
So do we even talk about the Jets game?
Yes. I predict we lose to the Jets. There you go. That's my serious prediction. We walk in there, we're so full of ourselves. I think the Jets have made a few canny picks. I don't think they're there yet, but I like the look of Zach Wilson. I think he's going to have an interesting year too, and they will be the sort of team that will get it together for one or two big games, and they'll surprise. This is my prediction. They will surprise a couple of teams. I think one of them will be the Bills, and I think we lose to the Jets. So I think they'll just come in and they'll just play a great 60 minutes, and we'll be like, okay.
So that's a Jacksonville game
That's
last season.
That could be our Jacksonville game, or like a Colts game where they just played great and we were just a bit shit that day.
Yeah,
that'll be that. So there's always a trap game where you think, oh great, we got past the Packers. Well, this lot will be easy. And even though McDermott will all be going, no, doesn't matter who you're playing, they'll coast. And I just think one game we'll get a smack, and then it'll be like, right, that's your one. Now go and win the rest of the games.
I can't see it being the Jets though.
They've
made a lot of.
I think the Jets are going to be slightly better than a lot of people think. Everyone's been taking the piss out of them for years, and rightly so. But I think they've actually picked up a couple of interesting players, and I think they're not a whole team yet, but they'll be good enough to have a couple of good performances. And I think that might be one of them.
They're certainly better. I think their draft was brilliant.
They
picked up a couple of outstanding players in the draft at corner and wide receiver. But I think a lot of it will depend on if Zach Wilson's fit by then, and actually is he any good? Because if Joe Flacco's throwing the ball for them and we're losing to Joe Flacco,
perhaps not.
We've got bigger problems, right?
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know. If we want to win the Super Bowl, I can see. I absolutely agree that I can see there being a trap game. But I think you're looking the next 2 weeks against either the Vikings or the Browns as being that potential team. I just can't see it being the Jets.
No,
I really hope not.
I agree. They have Joe Douglas seems to be almost like their version of Brandon Beane. He's drafting well, and when you see the likes of their picks, you're thinking that is a Billsy pick.
Yep.
Obviously, apart from Zach Wilson, because we don't need a quarterback and all that, but it's a Billsy pick, and they're the ones where, as much as we joke about them, I think it's going to be a win anyway, that they are going to surprise people this year. But in essence, it's going to be a win for the Bills anyway. So that's.
Well, so you're 9-0 at this point, are you?
No. I'm 8-1.
Oh, okay. So we're about.
Yeah,
I'm 8-1 at this point.
Yeah, I had the Chiefs loss. That's me.
Oh, okay.
Vikings. That is going to be.
That's a tricky game.
We're 10 games in, so we're if the Bills are 9-1 or 8-1 or at that level, then I think you knock them over. It depends how the Vikings are. The Vikings going to be 4-5, or the Vikings going to be 6 or 7 wins in. I think they're probably going to be about 50-50.
Yeah.
Should we go
Vikings are a good side. I think that this is potentially a tricky one. I think because it's at home, I think that gives us, would potentially gives us a lift. But they're a good side. They've made some good additions. They've, their wide receiver core is good. Justin Jefferson is still is a fantastic player. I think they've got a lot of very, very talented players. Defensively, potentially not as strong as they were a couple of years ago, but they're a good side. Whether Kirk Cousins is the man to lead them, I don't know, but I think that for me, if there's a trap game where we lose a game that we weren't necessarily expecting to, like we had the Eagles last year. Was it the Eagles where we went in? They I can't remember who it was, but it might have even been the Vikings. But they destroyed us at home.
Colts.
And was it the Colts?
Johnson Taylor got five touchdowns.
Yeah. And I worry that might be the Vikings. I'm still predicting us the win, but I have concerns about them.
That's our after the dumbfounding loss to the Jets. That's the get right game for me. So I think they get put their act together after that.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, the rookies and this offensive scheme will now be in full flow. They have 10 weeks of that under their belts, and obviously the rookies. Obviously, we'll have Trey White back, no doubt by then. So Lamb won't have to cover Jefferson that much. Obviously, he'll have to cover Thielen, but he'll be battle ready now, going up against some good guys that I feel comfortable with this cornerback room after the bye week, that we can really shut down again this team and allow this defensive line just to wreak havoc. And again, that's me going on to 9-1. I think
this next team, Browns.
Yeah,
they're a quarterback controversy, like weird decision away from being a genuine Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
The Browns are an incredible. There's so much talent. We benefit from the fact that they'll have Jacoby Brissett, obviously, and I think that means that we'll win. But the talent that they've got there in all positions, they don't really have a weakness other than QB. I think they're a very strong side. But the fact that it's most important position in sports is QB, and while you've got Jacoby Brissett or Josh Dobbs, I think it's a win.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I think it's a straightforward, almost a straightforward win. They've got good pieces. You're right, especially on defense when you've got Myles Garrett and who's the guy on the opposite side of him?
Garrett, Clowney. They've got Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, Greg Newsome. They've got talent everywhere.
Do they have all the team unity? Do they have everyone looking in the right direction? It reminds me of a few Cowboys teams of years gone past where they had the talent, but they just couldn't get the results because they just didn't seem to have the unity or the spirit. That might be the thing that
I wonder if what has caused that for the last couple of years has maybe been the quarterback. So getting rid of the old QB who's now gone to Carolina is probably not a bad thing for them from a team unity point of view. Why you would then chose to bring in Deshaun Watson as the guy to replace them is an interesting decision. But I think if they're potentially looking more long term. So you think that they've obviously traded the house to get Deshaun Watson, probably knowing he was going to miss the season. And then you think, well, fine. Next year, though, we've got that roster plus Deshaun Watson, who's a year or 2 years rested.
But again, rested, but also rusty.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, but I think they've taken the view that you'd rather have him, a potentially rusty Deshaun Watson, rather than trade for someone and hope for the best. At least he's proven in the league last time he played. Whether morally you should ever draft or trade for someone like that is a completely different question. But I half expected him to pick up Matt Ariza, but they decided against it.
So Thanksgiving, Lions
win. Move on.
Josh doesn't lose on Thanksgiving. Not on Turkey Day. No, they'll get the job done.
I think the Lions will be much improved. I think the Lions are a much better team this year.
Yes, I've seen that.
Genuinely, was more impressed with them last year than I expected them to be. I thought they'd be terrible. I think this year they've added some interesting pieces. I think the Lions will be better. There'll be quite a few high-scoring games. The guy that they drafted, Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive player, helps them a lot. I still think they'll concede a lot of points, but I think they will score a lot of points as well. But I expect us to have far too much to win away in Detroit.
Yep, agreed.
So do we see a perfect game against the Patriots again? Do we see a second in a row?
It'd be interesting because at this point, what are we now, like 12 games in?
This is week 13 now, the Patriots.
Week 13, so that's after 11, 12 games if they've had their bye. So where are the Patriots going to be? Are they going to be a 6-6 type team? Are they, dare I say, a 4-8 team? My prediction, I think they fall. I think that I know Belichick and everything and his magic and all of that. I just think he's run out of spells. I just think he's run out of stuff. I think he'll still get them. He's like Tomlin. They won't get blown away, but I just don't see where their wins are coming from. So I think the Bills win, but I also think that if the Patriots are sort of 4-8 or that kind of thing, it'll be a very different looking team than a 7-5 wildcard chasing match game. You know
as I said on my other podcast where we regularly slate the Patriots on a regular basis. Check out the Long Snapper podcast, by the way, if you're interested.
Okay.
Shameful plug.
Yeah, sorry about that. Shameless.
It's fine.
I think that I think the Patriots are going to be nowhere this year. It's that even the decisions that have been made by even the organization from a coaching staff point of view, how you've got Matt Patricia running the offense. It's bizarre. They've got no one to throw the ball to. I'm still not convinced with Mac Jones. Damian Harris is all right in flashes as a running back, but they've lost a lot of guys on the defense. I think that I've been saying it for many years, but I think that genuinely, I think the Patriots are going to be terrible. I don't think they're winning more than 5 games this year.
Yeah,
just because they look a mess. There's beat reporters coming out of New England who were reported a couple of weeks ago at training camps saying that they couldn't believe what they were seeing. It was worse than they expected.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is the moment we've all been waiting for, isn't it? It's taken us 20 years, but yeah.
I totally agree. I feel like, any team coached by Bill Belichick is going to be prepared. But I just think at the end of the day, being prepared and being, a good tactical coach and doing all of that stuff can get you so far. But you've got to have the talent to back it up. And I just don't think they've got it in any position. Year 2 Mac, great, brilliant. Is who you throwing the ball to, Mr. Jones? Is Kendrick Bourne going to finally realize he's a wide receiver after 5-6 years? I can't see it.
Yeah. So after that, we start get another run of finishing off our thing against the Jets, our series against the Jets. Is that home? Oh, we going for another W?
The revenge game. Yeah.
Robin, the revenge game.
We'll be sore. We'll be real sore after that. We'll have a point to prove. We won't take them lightly again. So yes, we win this one. I think fairly comfortably as well.
And I think by week 14, this is going to be about the game that clinches us the division, right?
Yes.
No, well, if all the other wins go where we're about 12-1 at this point, so yeah, you'd certainly hope so. It's going to be them in Miami if they're hanging on. So.
Yeah, I'd like to think that we could win it a bit earlier this year.
And that's the perfect comment just there. That's the perfect comment.
Couldn't agree more with Rick. He's spot on. The jest.
Not the GETS, the GEST.
Damn right.
The New Jersey Jets. So don't everyone forgets that. I have a running thing with the guy that does the UK Jets podcast, Eric Owen, and when he comes on, I always introduce him as the New Jersey Jets rather than New York Jets.
It's the greater metropolitan area of New York City. Does he say that?
I think so. I can't remember.
Yes, by New York, I mean New York City and its greater metropolitan area.
The point that Dan makes, by the way, in the chat is exactly right. He said that we want home field. He's spot on.
Yes, we do.
It's one of those. Yeah, and it's if we're in a position to get for it. When I said that this is the game where we clinch the division, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm saying we take our foot off the gas or we start to rest players. Because if you're right, if number 1 is in play or wherever, we want, I want home field advantage for as much of the playoffs as we can. Last season, if we play the Chiefs at home, we win the game. If we don't lose that ridiculous game to Jacksonville, we're number one in the playoffs. We absolutely have to go full tilt in every game. And our run in, other than second to last, I think is quite favourable to us. I think I can't see us losing a game. I do think we might lose to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think that's the one game where I think Dolphins Bears going to be a win. Patriots last game is going to be a win. It's that Bengals game which kind of worries me a little bit, because what Cincinnati did last year, going from number one pick the year before to pretty much on the cusp of the Super Bowl itself in that one season, and what they've added and what they keep adding in off season and drafting. It is the second to last game. It is week 17 or week 16 game, but I think that one has the number one seed on the line for it.
Could be. I mean, it does depend, doesn't it? How Cincinnati going to get on against the Ravens, against Steelers? How are they going to get on in the other team? What's the other team in the AFC North? I'm blanking. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. Oh, Browns. Cleveland. Yeah, Browns. It'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see where the Bengals are.
That's the one thing that hurts them in their quest for the top seed rather than us. Our division games are much easier than theirs are.
Yeah.
So in theory, they should be losing, you would hope, more games than us, purely by the strength of the opposition they've got to play. Their schedule, I think, is pretty tough. So I'd like to think we'd be ahead of them, but yeah, it's there's every chance that it's a quest for certainly there'll be a reshuffling of the pack amongst the two teams based on who wins the game.
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to if we want to win the Super Bowl, if we want to get number one seed, we have to beat teams like this.
Yes.
We can't accept this as being one of those games that we can lose because they're a good side, and you can lose to good sides.
Yeah.
It was a couple of years ago that when the Bucs won it, they lost that game in like week 7 and they didn't lose again.
Yeah.
We need to do something like that.
Yeah. If it comes to, I mean, if we've already got the number one seed locked up, then it's probably a moot point, isn't it?
Fine. Don't worry about
it. If it's a game we have to win, then yes, granted.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same for the last game as well. So. Yeah.
So I think what's that put you at? How many losses do you have in that season? I had 2.
3 for me.
I've got 2 because I think we lose one of the last 2, because I do think we'll have the number one seed, and I do think they will rest players in the last 1 or 2 games, and they won't roll over, but they may well lose them anyway because they're going up against. Because if Cincinnati aren't quite there yet, they are going to need that win, and if we don't, then fine. So I'm going 15-2, and we lose one of the last 2.
I think I've picked mine based on we have to play hard in every game. We're fighting for the top pick. Top pick. Let's hope we're not fighting for the top pick. The top seed up to and including the Patriots game. Because I agree, if we rest everyone against the Patriots, you could easily lose that game because you're playing your second string. Fine. We didn't against the Dolphins, as it turned out last season. We thrashed them, but that was the Dolphins. Yeah. I think we lose 3. I've got Rams obviously week 1 and the Bengals in week 17, and I think there'll be one other somewhere, which is just like I'll go with the Browns as being the other game, or the Vikings I think will be the other game that I think will be like that weird game that we lose, but you would hope that record would still be more than enough.
Yeah, and I've got the defeat against the Chiefs and the Bengals for 15-2.
15-2 gets you number one, I think.
Yeah, should do, shouldn't it?
Yeah, based on, again, I think you look at the teams around you. There's a lot more competition in other divisions than there is in ours, in theory. Based on I think the Titans and the Colts will have more of a ding dong battle in that division. Jaguars improving. The AFC West is ridiculous.
No one's getting 15 wins in the AFC West, are they? Because
absolutely not. Every team in that conference, in that division, is very good. Like as far as even the Raiders are a great side. They could, like the Broncos came last in that division last year. They could easily be the number 1 seed based on the talents they've got, and adding people like Russell Wilson easily could be a Super Bowl contender. But again, strength of division means they're going to beat each other a lot, which helps us. Being in the easiest division means that we should have more of a shot at number 1, you would hope, as long as we don't chuck in ridiculous games like the Jaguars last year.
Don't do the Jags,
It seems Dan thinks it's going to be a 14-3 season. Chiefs, Vikes, and Bengals.
Yeah, it's a fair shot. It's a very fair shot.
So just before we go, I just want to do two quick predictions for you. Who is going to be the team MVP and who's going to be the breakout star of this season? And you can't use Josh Allen as your team MVP.
Oh, well, forget it then.
All right, Giggs.
Yeah, Von Miller.
Yeah, I think that's all right. Yeah, fair.
And breakout Cleve Shakir.
Shakir. Okay.
So breakout star for me, I think because of the additions who you're adding, the fact that you've added Von Miller, he was already a talent last year and looked like he was going to be good, but I think he really announces himself as being one of the best up and coming edge rushers in the league. Greg Rousseau, I think, has a massive year. He's harder to cover when you've got Von Miller on the other edge. The guy's an absolute weapon, and I think he has a massive season.
Yeah. I think my breakout is going to be McKenzie. I think now he's got that
great shout.
Now he's got that slot role pretty much sewn up on there, and what they've done with him previous years and all that, I think it just gives him now the opportunity to really go out and get it. I mean, Greg Rousseau is another good shout. What else? The Ed Oliver is, and Dan.
Ed Oliver as well. I think
Dan goes Ed Oliver, Gabe Davis. So.
Gabe Davis, I think, I wouldn't classify. To me, last year felt like his breakout season. And this is just, for me, this is Gabe Davis's almost consolidation and build on it season. You know, people know after the Chiefs game where he got 4 touchdowns, everyone knows what Gabe Davis is about now. He isn't going to have the freer looks that he had last season, this season, because people know what a weapon he is. So I'd like to think that he can continue to play at that level. And if he plays up to that kind of standard, what an addition. He's going to be. It makes it progresses our offense onto another level again, and it's exciting. I'm really excited by Gabe Davis this year.
Yeah, Lockport comes in and says Edmonds to have a breakout year and Shakir on the offense, and it's good that we've got, as we go back and go back earlier to the roster preview, we've got a very strong roster, and it's a good place to be. To be honest.
You feel like with Edmonds, I think that's a really interesting call because you feel like he needs to have that year, right? He's flattered to deceive for a couple of seasons when he came in with so much hype. He's still very young, but I feel like he's not progressed to that kind of leader or player. Like leader, I think he's a good leader, but player that we hoped he might be, I feel like he's not quite there yet. If he has that year, and if he does become that breakout star on the defense, then bloody hell,
pay him.
Well, yeah, but it's exciting, right? And that's what he's after. You want guys that are hungry. They're trying to get that. They're trying to get the next contract. He's not had it yet, and if he has the season, then great, pay him. More than happy to. And we'll find the money from somewhere. Brandon always seems to manage it somehow. I don't know how, but good for him. But yeah, if he has a breakout year, then that's brilliant, because there's a bit of me that feels like, I think we said on one of the pods a couple of months ago that I think that this is it. I think this is Edmonds' last season with the Bills. If he's that same player again, I don't think we extend him. If he has a breakout year, which is clearly what he's after, then great. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So we thank everyone that's still watching us. We're pretty much at the end now. You guys got any last thoughts before we wrap up and actually all get prepared to do whatever ritual we do for the Rams game on Friday morning?
I just can't wait. It's 3 more days proper live football. It's just gonna be incredible. I think whatever happens, I think it's just going to be a great spectacle. And the Bills in the opening night of the season. We're in the big leagues now. This isn't Sunday at the 1 p.m., 6 p.m. game with a commentary team you've never heard of. We're got to, even though it's Collingsworth, we're going to have Romo some weeks. We're going to have Aikman some weeks. We're going to have proper.
Prime-time Bills, right?
People taking us seriously.
Which is annoying because it's so much harder to watch.
Yeah, everything we've ever wanted, and a little part of me still just have a 60. This is everything that the team's been working towards. I can't wait.
It's going to be. I can't remember even since kind of ridiculously early to mid 90s. When you knew that team, the Jim Kelly, the Bruce Willis era, you knew that they were a good side. I haven't got into a season with this level of expectation.
Yeah,
in nigh on what we're talking 30 years.
Yeah,
that's worrying. Since I was like 10 years old.
This is the best team we've had for 30 years. I think we can say that.
And I've not had this level of genuinely we can win it. And
we could.
It's exciting, man.
Buckle up.
And I think this is a brilliant comment. Just before we go from Dan. I mean, it's good that we get this feedback on there. I'm glad we know what's football.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're looking forward to it.
Where are you based, Dan? Let us know. Where are you based?
We'll buy you. One of these guys will buy you a beer if they see you. But no, I think for me, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be stuck in a hotel room in Exeter.
Oh really? Thursday night, Friday morning.
Thursday night, Friday morning. Yeah. So I'm going to be streaming it rather than actually watching it on Sky Sports.
Right.
But
I have Game Pass, so I don't watch it on Sky. So.
All right, Dan is from. When we go over to Syracuse, buy him.
Tom Cruise.
Love that.
But no, I think it's going to be interesting, and obviously you can follow Robin on social media at
Robin C. Armstrong.
Follow Mark on social media at
This is Sparky S.
And follow me, Matt SW86, and keep following us on Twitter. Keep subscribe to YouTube. We'll hopefully do a few more of these live shows. Unfortunately, Lockpot Dude, we won't be live streaming the game. It's something that we could potentially do down the line.
Down the line, I think we could. Yeah,
maybe not. Maybe not the 2 a.m. game.
Yeah. 6 p.m. game seems a bit more.
The life of a British NFL fan. Love it.
Yeah. But no, keep subscribing to Buffalo Bills UK on Facebook, on YouTube. DM the UK Bills Twitter at UK_Bills to join the WhatsApp group. Just follow us, keep liking, subscribing, and just following and spreading the love. Leave us comments and reviews. And for Robin, Mark, it's Matt saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for listening, and let's go Buffalo Bills.
Go Bills.